We have more money in our reserves than we had when I became mayor. We're doing things right, but we're also doing some things that we can do better. And that's what these candidates are going to be telling you about. And that's what these members of the board of directors are going to be doing throughout their term in office. So with that, let me ask the president, Carl Schrader, the vice president, Joanna Siskin, the secretary, Annette Pardue, and our new treasurer, Shelley Karogalian, to come up closer. You want to be a little closer? Okay. Yeah. Okay. And you want to raise your right hand and repeat after me. I, in your name,
I, Shelley Karogalian,
do hereby promise to uphold the vision, mission, ideals, and bylaws of the Clearwater Neighborhood Coalition. I promise to perform to the best of my ability. In service to the Clearwater Neighborhoods Coalition. I promise to work in a focused and respectful effort. With the other officers of the Clearwater Neighborhood Coalition. I promise to support the membership of the Clearwater Neighborhoods Coalition in its continuing efforts of making a positive impact within our city of Clearwater, the area, and our neighborhoods. So help me God. Congratulations. Just one last thing. It always amazes me, no matter what the organization, that all of these oaths are longer than the oath that the President of the United States takes. Have y'all ever thought about that? I mean, you know, that's 35 words. It took us 35 minutes. Congratulations. Thank you all. Thank you.
Thank you. Just want to make sure that when you came into the building, you got a 3x5 index card. Write your questions down. We want to have some audience participation. Those will be collected in the yellow bucket. We are a community organization. We do not endorse candidates. We help to facilitate them to promote their mission and their ideals of what they want to do. So that is where we had the focus of our forum. We had a package that we sent out to the candidates. We had 9 questions. Those questions may or may not be asked tonight. Some or all of them may be asked. But we wanted to have the candidates present to us their ideas and their vision for the future of Clearwater. So this is a moderated debate. Our moderator for the evening is our Vice President, Joanna Siskin. So with that, Joanna. Thank you.
All right, so if you have a question, they're walking around, they'll take it from you, and we'll intersperse those with the questions that we have. They're going to have 2 minutes to answer the questions. We have a timekeeper, so keep that in mind. We're going to rotate who answers the question first. And they drew numbers. Michael is going to be the first one to answer the first question, then we go down the line, and then Lina will be the second, and so on and so forth. And to begin with, we'd like each one of you to stand up and introduce yourself, and maybe in 2 minutes give a brief summary about yourself. So we'll start with you, Michael.
All right, very exciting. Don't start my time yet. They gave us these 9 questions. I felt like I was studying for the SAT again. This was crazy. And then to hear we may not get all the questions. Boy, lucky us. For those candidates that aren't up here with us today, I guess this group did our homework for you, so you can go ahead and take notes on us. Hopefully we did it correct. I'll go ahead and begin. Thank you, Carl and Karen, CNC, for hosting this. Welcome to all the residents of Clearwater to this Morningside, beautiful neighborhood and beautiful rec center that we're in today. A big hug, a group hug to everybody, and I want to thank you for engaging and participating in the vitally important election process that Clearwater's facing. It is an opportunity for you, the citizens, to regain your voice, to unite what some are calling a fractured city, and to restore balance that has been missing. And that balance is finding a balance between destination and quality of life, livability and tourism, and that's a hard balance to find. You know, for the last 7 to 10 years, people have said citizen apathy has caused your voices to disappear and your presence to wane in the political process. In the meantime, special interest groups have kind of grabbed the wheel and steered policy and direction in our city for quite a while. The repercussions that we're left with are a fractured community, disconnected neighborhoods, 13 candidates on a stage for an election, a revolving door of political leadership, and packed forums across our city. March 17th is not just another election. It's not just simply about the next 4 years, but it's about the shape and direction of Clearwater's future. I've been blessed with the endorsements of the Fraternal Order of Police, Firefighters Association, and the Sierra Club. I'm passionate about public service, and I vow to preserve, protect, and to promote our city now for our children and for future generations to come.
Thank you. I think you started.
Hi, I'm Lina Teixeira, but you could just call me Lina. I'm sitting here and I recognize all your faces, so I want to apologize because I'm sure you've all heard all of us before. So for the odd 3 or 4 that have not heard this is for you. In a nutshell, I offer diversity. The most obvious, of course, is my gender, my age, and as well as my ethnicity. But what I'm also offering is my unique experience as both an elected official and as a person in the private sector that's been elected in 3 different boards, representing 3 different groups, and I've done that with passion and commitment. I am from humble beginnings, and I'm not afraid to roll up my sleeves and work hard, and I've done so for years before I decided to run for my candidacy. I am the first in my family to attend and graduate from college, and I am fluent in 4 languages. And what I would like is the opportunity to finish what I started, bringing new businesses to downtown, like Tequila's, Clear Sky, new internationally acclaimed entities like Harvard University and the Dali Museum. I want to partner with innovative people such as The Ring that brought 70 new companies. I've only just started, and I'm asking you to allow me to finish. I have a lot more to do, and I'm asking you to choose me. Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. I understand that they're going to bring a great big television set to put in the back of the room so we can watch the football game while it waits. Well, I'm Bud Elias, and I thank you all for being here this evening, and I thank the Homeowners Association for putting this function on and for inviting us. I'm Bud Elias. I'm a veteran. I've lived in Clearwater with my wife and my family for most of our adult lives. Our kids grew up here, went to public school. I've been in business for 41 years. I think I started when I was 10. We worship here, and I taught Sunday school here. Clearwater is our home. We are proud of Clearwater, and I want to make sure that generations to come will be able to enjoy all of the amenities that we too often forget and take for granted. I like to think of Clearwater, when I look at a map of the United States, as a beacon that says to people, come on down, the water's warm. Thank you.
Dr. Bob Cundiff, and it's hard for me to believe that I've lived here 23 years. Came to teach, was asked by a college that has gone out of business to start a communication major for them, and I had never been to Florida until I took the job at Clearwater Christian College, where I worked for 19 years. I teach also at St. Petersburg College, as I have for the last 22 years as an adjunct, teaching speech communication and whatever else they need me to teach. I am a widower, and I am overeducated. I love to teach, and have done a lot of it most of my career, although I have worked in radio and television before I came here. I have done a couple of voiceovers. You might hear me as the voice of the license plate for the Tampa Bay Estuary Board. I'm on that board of directors. And also the Homeless Leadership Board. I serve on that. I'm a voice for all of the residents of Clearwater. You know, because I've been in your neighborhoods and your libraries and your rec centers, and visiting with you, answering your questions, helping us solve your problems over the years. I'm concerned enough that I'm proud to say that I'm the only council member that has voted against a tax increase, the last ones you had a year ago. Only council member to meet 30 meet and greet sessions with residents, and if I am honored by you to serve a second term, I'll do several things, including I'm working on, ask me afterwards or during the session to answer any of these questions.
Hello, I'm Bruce Rector. I originally born and raised in Indiana, farmland of Indiana, where I grew up. Through that, I had some connections, and through experience I had in college, I worked for the Indianapolis Colts in the National Football League when I was really, really young, and had an opportunity to work in sports for a while, and then I went to law school. Back in Lexington, Kentucky, where I went to undergraduate school, and practiced law in Lexington for a long time before coming to Clearwater. I've been working in downtown Clearwater for 6 years, and there's no better place to live, work, and play than Clearwater, Florida. My leadership experience that I believe will be an asset to the City Council is that in two respects. With regard to city operations, one is I was president, the 58th president of a group called Junior Chamber International, an international organization of young entrepreneurs and leaders under the age of 40. We had 200,000 members in 110 countries. So I had managed a board of directors of 25 members. 21 of those were from countries other than the United States. And so I have leadership experience in getting people to collaborate and seeing that the best ideas can come from everywhere, and using that to get folks to work together for a great cause. And I also work with many city managers all over the world and city leaders to try to find solutions to their community problems. Currently, I'm general counsel for a company called Sports Facilities Management in Clearwater. We do youth and amateur sports complexes throughout the United States. And I work with city managers all over the country today to work on projects similar to the project that we're talking about at Coachman Park. Council members, mayors, city managers, to help them find solutions to their community problems. So that's what I want to bring to the City Council's leadership experience. And it's an honor to speak to neighborhoods tonight, because neighborhoods are an important part of the future of our city.
Started. The first question, Michael, you'll go ahead and start or go down the line and so on. So the first question tonight is, what are the successes and failures of Clearwater's Green Print Initiative as of December 31st, 2019, and what expectations will you put in place to measure its successful future progress?
Well, that's a very good question to receive to start off with. I just found out today that I received the Sierra Club endorsement, so that's very important to me, and doing our share of responsibly protecting the environment, not just for ourselves, our communities, but the future generations in front of us. Clearwater's green print, a competitive, vibrant, and green framework is what it looks to do. When asked, has Clearwater done enough? I think the simple answer is no. I don't believe we have. I think as a city, we lag behind some of our surrounding cities in being responsible and sustainable for future generations. I think there are some things we can do. I think since 2011, we've purchased new fleets of nice cars and trucks rolling around the city. I don't know if anybody has seen any of those be electric or hybrid. I don't believe so. I think we've constructed some new buildings throughout the city and replaced some roofs on buildings, gyms. I don't think anyone heard discussions about solar on top of those, so I think we can be better in those two areas. Additionally, I do know that the Sierra Club came to the table regarding Imagine Clearwater, and I'm told they requested to be a part of the process and to help foster discussions of responsible green thought and promotion and development and building, and they were denied, and that's very intriguing to me, considering the organization that they are and their concern and care and their history for our community. I think the city has taken steps forward, though, and one of the things the city did is this year they hired a sustainability coordinator, and I think Sheridan's doing a great job, but I think it's very important as a city that we empower Sheridan to work directly, seamlessly with all of our areas and departments, from building and economic development and code enforcement, so that we can be better at protecting our environment. Thank you.
So for those who need a little recap, that was a document that was published about 10 years ago. So we're kind of looking back on 10 years. A lot of things are no longer applicable. But I'm just going to tell you what resonates with me. In terms of successes, would have to be the community involvement. Just in November, CNC and the CRA got together and did sustainability conference, which I believe should be an annual event, and we have 2 more going in 2020. So that's something that resonated with me. Our water usage, I'm very encouraged by the fact that per capita we still have low numbers. I do like that the city is still offering low flow shower heads and toilet tanks, so these are very concrete successes. Also, the recycling, it's kind of mixed with the recycling. In terms of residential, we're pretty good. We've diverted, used to be 9,000 tons, now we're up to 14,000 tons. But commercial, it's been rejected because the world markets are rejecting all the recyclables, so the commercial recycling program is suspended. So that's something that I would like to start that conversation. In terms of failures, we still need to have programs to encourage energy sufficiency by supplementing and encouraging homeowners' solar systems, for example. Staff education is still in the looking into phase. Our website regarding the sustainability kind of got lost in the new website, so there's not a clear path for the citizens to look up what's going on. So we have gotten some progress, but a lot of work still needs to be done, and I'm ready for it. Thank you.
Greenprint is a wide-reaching program that's scheduled to have a 25-year life. They're talking about waste, they're talking about water, they're talking about wastewater, they're talking about food, growing food, eating food. It's broad-reaching. And I think in terms of the issues that we're facing as it relates to Greenprint is, when we look back at what happened in the last hurricane and wastewater in St. Petersburg went into the bay, we don't want that to happen in Clearwater. I want to make sure that that is a function that prevents that sort of accident occurring. I want to make sure that we have clean water for future generations. and water is an issue for the state of Florida. I want to make sure that we have green building materials when people are building new buildings downtown as well as residentials. And we hired out, it was said a few moments ago, with sustainability coordinator, and we want to empower her to be able to work with all the various departments in the city to make sure that the emphasis of green print is always followed and that it continues to be a successful process. Thanks.
The effort to have a sustainable city, I think, is admirable. And although I wasn't on the council 10, 12 years ago when it was enacted, I know Mayor Hibbert had a big part in that. The question was the successes and failures. I don't see really any failures. Let me talk about some of the successes and then what we can do looking forward. Since 2015, the city has converted more than 11,000 streetlights to LED bulbs. All traffic signals, including pedestrian signals, now use LED lighting. The city has made investments in energy efficiency upgrades of its building, been able to save hundreds of thousands of dollars in energy and operational costs. And Clearwater gas system, I don't know if you know, but upon combustion, natural gas produces lower greenhouse gas emissions than electricity generated from non-renewable energy sources. So Clearwater Gas, in many of its homes and businesses, Clearwater's homes and businesses have helped to convert to natural gas, and that I think can be applauded. In the last decade, in 2018, just last year, a year before last, City Council passed Resolution 1808 to encourage Clearwater businesses to adopt ocean-friendly practices. And sustainability coordinator, we talked about already. 2019, Mayor George Creticus signed on as a climate mayor. In October, the city held its first sustainability conference. I think that was mentioned already. Storm drain mural program was created, allows Clearwater residents 10 seconds. What we need are measurable goals. Let me give you, can I take 10 seconds with an example?
No, because then we have to give everybody 10 seconds.
And I'll be glad to give you at least 3 examples.
I won't go over some of the things that the prior candidates have said, other than just say, yes, I've seen through Citizens Academy and different programs that have been involved in the city has made great progress in this area. Sheridan Boyle is very competent and talented, and having a first sustainability coordinator, she's only started to hit the ground running, and she will be able to identify areas where the city can do better. The city has done a lot, but the city can do a lot more. The city should do all it can to protect our environment, contribute to the beauty and preserve our environment. I would tell you, though, that is not enough, that this is an effort that we have to get behind as a community. And we can't rely on government to do it all. And in that vein, I am encouraged by Ocean Allies, a nonprofit volunteer organization out on the beach, which led by Sherry Hallman at the Beachcomber, who got businesses out there to voluntarily convert to eco-friendly products and to be environmentally friendly in the way they operate their businesses. And so I think it's a combination of the two. Yes, the city needs to do all it can to be environmentally friendly, but as a community, we need to show the community and our citizens the benefits of being eco-friendly. Here, where we can most directly affect the environment, clean air, clean water. It affects our tourism. We're now drawing more what they call ecotourism, folks who want an environmental experience while they visit Clearwater Beach. We need to have a clean, natural beauty for them to enjoy. I saw a soccer team, a women's swimming and diving team from Carson Newman, from Case Western University, cleaning up the causeway as part of their experience here in Clearwater. We need more of that total community involvement in keeping our environment here in Clearwater clean.
course of economic actions will you champion to improve the lives of average Clearwater residents and the neighborhoods they live in?
So, to best describe my plan, it's thinking of economic development like an ecosystem, a food chain. Economic development is what spearheads and supports an infrastructure. And if there's too much of one thing, it cannibalizes the other. So economic development must include diverse business initiatives, attracting new businesses, diverse businesses. We must have the infrastructure to support it, so a transportation system. We need to have workforce housing. And just to elaborate on that, that is housing specifically for people like the service industry, teachers, beginning entry-level firemen and police. So, and it's not something that's done one thing at a time. It's a multi-pronged approach. Because at this point, we're heavily dependent on the tourism industry. And so the taxes are basically bed tax and tourism and homeowners. And we need to diversify. And in order to do that, we must have a robust economy and economic development. So attract new businesses, which brings new jobs, provide the infrastructure to support that, because we can build a Taj Mahal, but if we don't have roads to it, it's not going to work. And so it's an ecosystem, and we must be very aware that it has to happen simultaneously.
What would I champion? Well, as Lina said, our tax base is dependent upon tourism and real estate. But what happens if there's a downturn in our economy, as we had in 2009? Our revenues are reduced, the capacity of the city to take care of public safety and all of the other issues that affect our town are reduced. So what do we do? Not too long ago, I read a book called Jump Starting America. Neat book, because it talks about the fact that there are across the country hubs of scientific and technical development, successful organizations. And so my suggestion, and one of the things I would like to work towards as a member of the City Council, is to work with the city, work with the state government, and work with the federal government in terms of funding. And we know that there are institutions of higher learning all over this town, all over this community. We have a workforce that is available. We have the new medical center at the end of Clearwater. So we have opportunities to make a difference. The book said that there are 102 locations across the country that would be viable as a hub for science and technology. Our area was designated as 32nd out of 102. So that means we have an opportunity to make a difference, and we have something that might be sustainable for years to come, rather than having to worry about the downturn of the economy because tourism is off and because real estate isn't off. Thank you.
You all live in different neighborhoods. A number of you live here, but there are, what, 80, 90 different neighborhoods here in Clearwater. And all of you want a vibrant neighborhood, and you need several things to do it. Number one, you need good streets, safe streets. And I am appalled when I hear the news every week of somebody dying on the streets of Clearwater. And I think one of the big things that we can work on is to make our streets safer for pedestrians, for bicyclists, for cars. Another thing that we really need to work on is what's mentioned already, workforce housing. We have many, many people who work for the city of Clearwater who cannot afford to live in Clearwater. And we need additional workforce housing. I've been happy to see at least 2 places go up in the last couple of years. One on just off Myrtle and Garden in north of Drew Street, and then another one in South Greenwood with 80-some units in each place. And we need those all over the city. One of the things that we've been facing is in the last 10 years, Highway 19 was not finished. And now that is finished, and we're seeing all sorts of new housing going up right close, almost across the street from here. So those two things, I think, are very, very important. And we've had some success, but we need much more. Thank you.
I'd say several things. I agree with Mr. Elias and Lina in that we need to diversify our economy. We're not just heavily dependent upon tourism, we're heavily dependent upon leisure tourism. And we've seen through the work our company does that there are other types of tourism that are recession-proof. Youth sports, youth and amateur sports tourism, travel team tournaments, as in prior recession was recession-proof. That remained strong even though the economy turned down. So trying to move some of our tourism market to other types of tourism would be helpful in protecting our tax revenues for the city. Another thing that's important for our neighborhoods is neighborhood affordable housing. You know, I'm out in the neighborhoods, I'm seeing some of these houses, and they're in your neighborhoods too. There's some houses, often with an elderly person living in it, that can't afford to update it and keep it up. That we not only have an end of our housing market, which is unaffordable for police, fire, our folks who work in Clearwater, but we also have a housing inventory that in some respects is unattractive to them because it hasn't been updated in a long time. They don't have the time or the money to remodel it and bring it up. So we need to focus on that and find some unique, creative programs from around the country and test pilot those to see if we can improve our housing inventory so we can attract younger families to work here. We also have an aging population. Last census, Clearwater had the highest percentage of its population over the age 65 than any other city of the 100,000 occupants or more in the United States. So we need to attract younger families to our community to be able to grow and thrive in the future. So those are the things that I see that are important to neighborhoods. And definitely traffic congestion, making sure that neighborhoods don't become cut-throughs for traffic congestion is important as well.
My friends up here gave you some wonderful examples of how to drive and stir our economy and foster growth. And I think, again, I'll circle back to the beginning. We need to ensure that sustainability doesn't just stop with economic measures. We can't stop there. We need to ensure that we're including social and environmental impacts to those equations. And affordable houses is needed, and the machine of tourism and the beach is a huge asset for driving money into this economy.